بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Hello everyone. Ramadan Kareem to all of you, and may Allah accept our good deeds during this holy month. It is with my great pleasure to welcome you all, and I would like to thank you all for participating in this webinar. We are very grateful to see you all again. My name is Abdurrahman Saleh Khamis, for the guys who don't remember me. I'm the technical director here at Qatar Scientific Club, and I will be the moderator for tonight's discussion. In the beginning, we would like to appreciate the participating of our distinguished guests, His Excellency Mr. Doha Ihan, the President of the Islamic Conference Youth Forum, Dr. Nasser Al-Ansari, Chairman SWICC Infection Control Committee in Communicable Disease Center at Hamad Medical Corporation, and finally Dr. Harib Al-Jabri, Assistant Professor of Environmental Sciences at Qatar University. As you know, the main topic of tonight's session is innovative solutions to tackle the most pressing challenges caused by COVID-19. We all know that this virus spreads fast. In fact, as of today, there are 4.2 million confirmed cases. Globally, about 3.4% of reported COVID-19 cases have died, unfortunately, as the virus can spread more easily in crowded environments like nursing homes. By comparison to the seasonal flu, generally, it kills far larger than the flu. We know in some countries, cases are doubling every 3 to 4 days. So at Qatar Scientific Club, we decided to schedule this webinar to discuss with experts, specialists, and innovators the solutions that we can find to face this invincible enemy. Now I will turn the microphone over to His Excellency Mr. Doha Ihan, President of the Islamic Conference Youth Forum, to talk about the role of ICYF during this unprecedented time. So please, Your Excellency.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much. And it's always good and pleasure for us to see all the brothers and sisters. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'm most pleased and honored to be here with you all today. I would like to begin my statement by welcoming and thanking you all for joining us at the innovative solutions to tackle the most pressing challenges caused by COVID-19 online session. I highly appreciate the efforts of Ministry of Youth and Culture of the State of Qatar and Qatar Scientific Club in organizing today's online event, and as well as sustaining the historic activities of outstanding implementation of Doha Oasis Youth Capital in 2019. We are all facing an unprecedented global health crisis, as our brother underlined just a minute ago. Not only we are confronting a virus, but we are also confronting the first pandemic in history caused by coronavirus after the World War II. All of your countries have been affected, and we are all at different stages of the response. Sorry for that. And we are deeply concerned that the virus now appears to be gathering pace in countries that lack the capacity of many OIC countries to respond to it. On behalf of ICYF family, we are hoping that you and your family are in the best health and staying safe. May Allah make this time easy on you all and grant us good health during these difficult times. And I want to express my deepest condolences for the passed away brothers and sisters all around the world. You and your family are in my constant du'as, and may Allah protect us all. With the emergence of the novel coronavirus, everyone needs to join their efforts to work collectively and support each other during these difficult times. That's why I highly appreciate and support Qatar Scientific Club's efforts for supporting frontline healthcare workers by producing face shields and necessary materials within their capacity. Across the world today, millions of young people spend their most formative years living in situations and environments that prevent them to develop to their full potential. Young people are changing the world today, creating the reality of tomorrow. Speaking up, challenging norms, collaborating and building networks, young advocates are driving positive changes in their communities, countries, and around the world. In economic terms, the case for investing in young people cannot be more compelling. Cost-benefit analysis clearly demonstrate that it's the most powerful investment a country can make. In a moment of crisis, we are all faced with every one of us feels the daily growing impact of COVID-19 pandemic, and how we choose to act and what we choose to protect will define us moving forward. For those who choose to help solve problems, they should use the best available technology to advance our understanding and build solutions to end this pandemic. We are looking for pioneering technology solutions that will help us to collect, standardize, verify, utilize, and optimize data so that scientists can understand and stop the COVID-19 pandemic. Dear sisters and brothers, the coronavirus pandemic has changed the way we live, work, learn, connect, communicate, travel, and care for each other, unfortunately. Power of the youth should not be underestimated during this very challenging crisis like COVID-19. In this kind of particular moments, we reiterate our faith on youth to create, explore, and make a difference around the issues caused by the pandemic. We believe that young people have a powerful role to play and that their choices and ideas are important as families and communities to world over face unprecedented change. We would like to emphasize that enabling of engagement of young people in this time of crisis and facilitating them to feel empowered is important. COVID-19 has revealed the limits of the systems we take for granted in a very short period of time. Whether it's the massive increase in demand for information during a time of crisis, educating children when schools are closed, or helping communities best distribute limited resources, technology has a pivotal role to play. Therefore, COVID-19 brings the questioning the current traditional economic, finance, and production systems while creating some opportunities at side. As a cause of the current pandemic, many of the economic social activities we carry out in contact with each other have started to shift to digital environments, such as online education, digital communications, digital economy. This situation offers our young entrepreneurs a chance to turn the crisis into an opportunity. Opportunities lost at this particular time in life will not come again. So how do we ensure that we do not miss this critical opportunity to positively influence the future of humanity through the efforts of youth? In this regard, I would like to elaborate more on the following three areas, which are crucial at the time of pandemic, but will also shape the future that we will be living in. Remote education. Limiting further spread of COVID-19 is to practice social distancing. As a result, schools in most affected areas are taking precautionary measures by closing their facilities. With school-aged children at home for an indeterminate amount of time, parents and educators recognize the vital need to keep them engaged, entertained, and up to date with their education. Schools and teachers can continue to engage with their students through virtual classrooms and even create interactive space for classes. As parents face a new situation where they may need to homeschool their children, finding appropriate online resources is important as well. Crisis communication, the second field. In times of crisis, communication systems are often overwhelmed with people trying to find basic information about testing, symptoms, community response, and other resources. When communication lines get clogged, people who need real help can't get enough. Chatbots help respond to tens, even hundreds of thousands of messages a day. Whether via text, phone, websites, or communication apps, conversing with chatbots and other AI-enabled resources can play a critical role in helping communities quickly understand crucial information and free up customer service resources to focus on higher-level issues. And third field, community cooperation. There is a growing interest in enabling communities to cooperate among themselves to solve problems in times of crisis, whether it is to advertise where supplies are held, offer assistance for collections, or provide other local services like volunteer deliveries. While governments may be rolling out broad programs, cooperation at the local level is usually the most effective way of getting help to where it is most needed. While traditional social media is one way of communicating within a community, this is not locally focused and often not sufficiently structured to enable rapid discovery of what and where help is needed. With COVID-19 crisis, we have already seen problems with the local supply of food, equipment, and other supplies. Mobile, web, and cloud services enable rapid deployment of applications that can empower cooperation in the community. In the light of realizing the importance of above areas, we must benefit from the capacity of youth to develop innovative solutions to address new emerging needs of societies. Innovation is defined as a new solution, of course, method, idea, product, with the transformative ability to accelerate the impact. Youth from different backgrounds and perspectives could develop innovative solutions by utilizing hackathons or ideathons. Dear young innovators, dear audience, dear sisters and brothers, I would like to underline that our world is seeking the innovative solutions from you in the following areas: how to keep SMEs and startups informed of their rights, duties, and benefits during the COVID-19 recovery; how to ensure that women are not disproportionately affected by changes in the labor force caused by the COVID-19 crisis; how to encourage SMEs and startups to trade and work with other overseas; how to strengthen digital economies in developing countries; how to reskill or re-educate people who have been laid off during the COVID-19 crisis; how to reinvent the tourism and travel industries after COVID-19 pandemic; how to ensure that quality standards are met when production needs drastically increase; how thus to leverage the societal changes caused by COVID-19 crisis to drive positive change; how SMEs and startups can maintain lines of communication with their customers. I have belief in our youth that they will play a milestone role in solving COVID-19 pandemic and ensuring healthier future for all of us. Before I conclude my speech, I would like to update you on ICYF ongoing activities briefly. As ICYF, since the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, we have transformed many of our programs into online format to serve Muslim youth in the best way within the great efforts and passion of ICYF team day and night. Special edition talks, where we mainly host ministers of youth and sports decision makers in participation with the youth, that they can interact directly with speakers to speak about economic empowerment, capacity building, education, and sustainable development. Up to now, we have hosted Mr. Ibrahim Kalın Bey, the spokesperson of President of Turkey, Mr. Ahmed Galil Bey from Tunisia, the Minister of Youth and Sports of Tunisia, and Mr. Nabil Bey, the Assistant Secretary General of Commonwealth. And inshallah, this Tuesday, we will host Mr. Arune Toure Bey, the Minister of Youth and Sports of Mali. And also we have organized the Islamic Intellectual Heritage Program, the program which seeks to promote awareness about the Muslim intellectual contributions to science, cultural exchange, and global civilizations. And also I want to underline and announce one more program: the Ideathon Challenge, which aims to collect the best experiences, actions, and responses put forward by individuals and communities during the outbreak in partnership with the Hamad bin Khalifa University of Qatar. We will be soon announcing and promoting the submission of youth in an illustrated format to see how they are coping with the pandemic. Also, we had organized the Ramadan Contest this year again, and we had organized the journey through the Quran, the world's first digital Quran course covering all 114 surahs in 6 days. All interested young people are welcome to attend ICYF online events and programs. I once again thank you all for your attention, and I wish all of you a happy and blessed Ramadan. Lastly, special thanks to respected Qatar Scientific Club officials and esteemed Minister of Culture and Sports of State of Qatar for their efforts during these hard times. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Your Excellency, for your inspiring speech and knowing all your efforts trying to fight this pandemic. It's really inspiring. Thank you again. Now, I would like to give the microphone to Dr. Nasser Al-Ansari, the chairman of SWICC Infection Control Committee in Communicable Disease Center at Hamad Medical Corporation, to talk about the challenges that are faced in the medical sector. So please, Dr. Nasser.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for inviting me. What we are facing, as you know, is, as you said actually eloquently, it's this invisible enemy. It's so small and it's invisible, and we cannot detect it easily in the environment. Therefore, it has a lot of challenges because, you know, whatever we are doing, it seems to be, in some ways, it has protection, but some people, it's a behavioral issue. They might lower their guard, and that causes a problem, especially in hospitals. As you know, the coronavirus is what we call RNA virus, which means that it can change its genes more frequently than the DNA viruses. It's a very small virus, but it's also, I would say, it's a weaker type of viruses, similar to, should we say, HIV virus, the virus that causes AIDS. Outside the body, it can die quickly more than the DNA type of viruses. I know there are some studies that show how long it's survived in the environment, but in general, the RNA viruses, especially those type of virus that has what we call a lipid bilayer around it, once the lipid envelope is broken, the virus can die. And therefore, in the environment outside, dryness can kill it. If you like, sun, heat, all these can kill it, you know, easily. It's within the building that is a problem. It can stay longer. So we'll go back to just a reminder, as you know, this respiratory type of virus. But sometimes it also causes what we call gut type of symptoms. So the respiratory symptoms, as you know, it's cough, fever, and breathlessness. But the GI ones, they can have diarrhea, they can have vomiting, and so on, abdominal pain. And in between, there are other symptoms that more systematic, you know, manifestation, like red eye and so on. Flu-like symptoms is one of those, sore throat, etc. So there is a variety of symptoms that we need to be aware of. Now, what is my role is to prevent and control the infection in the hospitals. That is our role. In order to do that, one of the most important advice we give is, of course, as you know, is hand hygiene, whether to use soap and water to wash their hands or alcohol hand rub gel if the hands are already clean. That's an important, it's mundane, it's very easy, but people can forget it, and that's important to not forget. The other thing is that what we call PPE, personal protective equipment. By these, what we mean is that the face mask, for example, and then the shield or goggles, and the gowns that cover their clothes, and of course gloves when they are in contact with the patient. So these are the things that we recommended for the staff when they are dealing with the patient. Now, the type of mask is different. Generally, there are two types. One, the ordinary one, what we call surgical mask, some people call the medical mask. This is what you see, a blue type of mask that looks like cloth mask, which are 3 layers. And these are okay for certain type of transmission, what we call droplet transmission. By the way, the coronavirus can be transmitted by 2, and the third one, which is less rare. The 2 way is the droplet, which means basically the spit of the human being, whether he's talking, coughing, sneezing, whatever, singing, all these can be little tiny spits coming out of his mouth, and that can travel up to a meter and a half maximum, and can land on somebody else who's in front. That's what we call droplet. Now, the other one is by contact. So this droplet, if, for example, somebody coughed in his hand, and then shake somebody's hand, then they transmitted that by contact. Either this is direct contact. There is also indirect contact. If somebody coughed and it was on the table around them and somebody else touched that table or a surface, then they have contaminated their hands with that virus. And if they touch their nose, eyes, or mouth, then they are transmitting the infection. The third way, which is less common, but it is important for certain things, what we call aerosol generating procedure. These are usually in hospitals. They do certain procedures that can induces more of those respiratory droplet, but more into smaller bits and into the air. For example, when they are doing endoscopy in the bronchoscopy type, or if they are doing what we call tracheostomy or tracheal intubation, for example, somebody is going for theater, and or when they are putting the intubation for ventilation, these types, and then the suctioning also. So open suction, all these procedure can cause aerosol generating particles. And there's another one which is called the sputum induction. So these are more dangerous, if you like, type of procedure that we make sure our staff at the time have, for example, this need to be done in a specialized room, which we call negative pressure room. If the negative pressure room is not available, because not all hospitals have those, we have a special machine we call HEPA filters, basically trying to sucking the air. But the most important one is, again, the PPE. So they need to wear the face shield and the mask. And this type of mask is called N95 mask. So basically it can capture very small particles compared to the surgical or medical mask. And these are two types. There is one type, what you call duct type mask, and they come into three sizes. There's a small, medium, regular. Regular means actually large. We do a special test to make sure that the mask is fitting properly. So this is called fit testing. And in that case, we normally have the staff to start with a smaller one, and they have a hood around their head. And there is a special spray that tastes sweet. And we check if they can taste that sweetness or not. And if it fails in the smaller one, then go for the medium and then regular. And then if this is also didn't work, then it goes for the N95 mask, which is cup type. And that's what they use. Now, sometimes for that, they actually change a different type of taste, which is bitter. So if he feels the bitter taste, that means still he has basically leakage, and it's not suitable for him. And then the third, for those kind of cases, they have those, what we said, PAPR type of, they have to wear a hood, as you saw some pictures, maybe in videos and so on, and they have specialized piping for purified air to breathe through. So that's their protection, because for whatever reason, they cannot keep proper seal of those type of N95 masks. So that's the mask. And of course, then the gowns is really something to cover their body, to cover, and then the gloves is obviously for that. Before that, they need to, of course, use hand hygiene, use alcohol, and then they wear these things. And what's important also, when they are removing it, they need to remove it in order, where they remove the most dirty ones, for example, the gloves first, the gowns then, and then they remove behind them the mask and the shield. So these are the issues, but the problem is that when they are removing, there's a possibility that they can contaminate their hands. And that's important, that when they are removing, they need to do it in systematic and slow manner, and then use hand hygiene so that they make sure they're not contaminating themselves or others. So this is the most important things for us. It's what we call PPE. And of course, the HEPA filters and negative pressure. This is not a direct type of protection, but it's, if, for example, somebody coughed in a normal room, the organisms, the droplets can stay for a longer time than in the negative pressure room, because the negative pressure room is going to do air changes quickly, like 12 air changes per hour. So it's going to suck this through a HEPA filter to the outside. And therefore, the room will become, cleaner, if you like, or disinfected in that way. A HEPA filter in certain rooms, if you don't have HEPA, negative pressure, then we have these specialized machines. You probably saw some of them. They look like air conditioning, but they're just sucking the air through those filters and then recirculating it without, with removing those particles. But these are kind of the secondary, protection. The most important, as you said, the PPE. Here, what your club is really helping us. As you know, you've been using 3D printers and helping us with the face shields, and that's brilliant. You have also CNC type of machines to make also faster, if you like, face shield, and that's really, we appreciate your help. That's great. We already took a couple of batches of face shield and distributed them to different quarantine areas and hospitals, and they are brilliant because the difference is they are reusable compared to the ones that we buy. And the one we buy is basically disposable. So it's a one shift and it will be thrown out. That has two disadvantages. One, we have to always rely on supplies from the outside, for example, in this case in China. And this is not necessarily a secure way because we don't know, maybe sometimes we'll have good supplies and sometimes our supply will be low and will be kind of dangerously low for us. That's one thing. And the other thing is really bad for the environment because we are going to throw all these out for landfills and so on. These type of plastic are really damaging the environment. So what we are doing with us is not only that it will help the staff to protect themselves, but in a way that's more environmentally friendly because it's reusable. So that is our challenges that we need PPEs. The other one is that you are helping us with is those blue gowns. So those gowns are water resistant, and you are helping us with different sizes and tailoring of those and so on. The third one that we are looking at the moment, we just supplied you a sample with that, and that is the pump for the PAP type of protection. That will be, if you can, make of those, then it will be really great for those staff who actually fail these fit testing. That will be an additional help. And again, these things are more permanent, so it will be really very good if we can achieve that as well. So, and then there are certain things, it's behavioral, and we are not really sure because, it's the coronavirus or COVID-19 now is more in the community, and therefore it's more difficult to recognize because many of those, although we talked about the symptoms and signs, however, there are many people, especially the younger people, that can be asymptomatic or what we call pre-symptomatic stage. So in this case, they will be normal, but at the same time, they can transmit it. So if we don't keep this what we call social distancing between people, that minimum 1.5 meter or 2 meters, or 6 feet basically, there is a danger that we will be susceptible to get the infection, especially if neither of either the patient who is sick or the patient or the person in front of them, vulnerable person in front of them, they are not wearing masks. Therefore, we are now, as you know, like many countries, we recommend to wear masks when you are going out, or where people going out, even if it's just a cloth mask. Although it does not protect people from the infection, but it will reduce the chances of having the droplet from the patient to the outside. So it's basically, if you think about it, if we in the past, for example, we say if you are coughing or sneezing, use a tissue to cover your mouth and nose. So that mask, this is what the role will be. Just that's there to protect, to prevent this droplet coming into there. So this will protect the person in front of them. And if the other person is also wearing a mask, he's also protecting you and the people who are around him from these kind of droplets. That will reduce the droplet. The other thing is, as I said, this social distancing is very important. So whether it's in the community or even the hospitals, what we are trying to do is that to minimize those gatherings. One of the things that we use is for like this kind of sessions, meetings and so on. We prefer to do it virtually like this through Zoom or Microsoft Teams and so on, to reduce those chances of transmitting infections in silent people, basically. The other thing is that we have a community of people who are, if you like, the lower paid type of workers and so on. And these are people have normally big numbers in a smaller space of accommodation. So they produce a challenge for us because it can spread in that sort of community like a wildfire. It's very quickly into them. And although the majority, I would say more than 90% of them, 98% of them have either no symptoms or very mild symptoms. So they are themselves as a disease are not affected, but they get the transmission much more frequently and so on. And those people are also working in, say, hospitals or other areas, like, for example, the airport, etc., as cleaners and so on. And they are in big numbers. And therefore, they are, if you like, introducing this infection also into those institutions. So not that they know. I mean, many of them, they probably don't know that they are, they are carrying the disease and so on. But because they are a younger generation and they are asymptomatic probably, or they have just a mild sore throat or whatever, they just ignored it, flu-like symptoms, they're just ignoring it. And then there is a chance that they spread it in different departments and so on. So as you know, if anybody now has entered the hospitals, there is a checkpoint in the beginning that they will check the temperature of the person who's entering, and they will ask them specifically if they have any flu-like or respiratory symptoms, and then they will give them a mask, and they will ask them to use alcohol hand rub gel before they enter into the various hospitals. So this is one of the checkpoints we do. We also spread the news that we try to ask people to work from home if they can. Certain specialties, certain people, they can do it from home. For example, certain outpatients, now they are doing it over the phone. So they talk to their patients and they can do the prescription in the computer system, HIS. And then the prescription also can be sent by pharmacy to the address of that patient, or they can pick it up from the nearest primary health and so on. Depending, I mean, we are trying to improve that so that there is more coordination between the hospitals and the primary health so that they can supply these kind of drugs. So we try to sort of avoid people coming to the hospital. One of the things, the other things we did as part of the disaster plans is basically we suspended all the routine type of operations. So the operations that are done during this period of time, it's only emergency or basically urgent. Urgent we mean so cancer type of operations and so on. And therefore the number of operations dropped a lot. That is to really to reduce the pressure on hospitals so that we can cope with the amount of cases that we are getting from COVID cases. The other thing that we've done as a strategy, the committee has done, is that we are trying to protect all the hospitals that are in the center. So we try to keep them COVID-free. And we are utilizing the peripheral hospitals, the general peripheral hospitals. So as you know, first of all, the first center is the specialized center for disease, that is CDC in the center in Doha. But that's the capacity is limited, although they have very good, excellent setup, and they have very good specialized people in infectious diseases who are treating those patients. And Dr. Aman al-Muslimani is the medical director of that hospital. and she's taking care of all what we call the flow of the patients in the whole nation, Qatar. And then we had the hospital, which was a general hospital. It was Hazm Beirik Hospital, and that is where I work now. This is the COVID hospital, now dedicated for only COVID. So it's emergency, and all its inpatient and intensive care is there. And then we opened the two new hospitals, which is Msaid Hospital and Ras Laffan Hospital. They're similar to size of Hazm Beirik. So these are also only COVID hospitals. Finally, after that, we will be, inshallah, going to other hospitals if the number is increasing. But as you know, the number of people is increasing. We have also a lot of quarantine areas, not only for people who are traveling, but also people who are discharged and they need a few time to be, to be in quarantine. So, was there any question?
No, actually, we will turn the questions later. But yeah, so thank you very much, Dr. Nasser, for your speech. It's on behalf of all of us. I would like to thank you and thank everyone else who's working on the front lines fighting this enemy. And on behalf of Qatar Scientific Club, I want to say we are very happy to help you during this pandemic. It's our national duty, in fact, to protect who's protecting us. Now, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Harb Al-Jabri, the Assistant Professor of Environmental Sciences at Qatar University, to talk briefly about innovators' efforts to fight this enemy and how they should contribute their ideas and solutions to help our community. So please, Dr. Harb, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Abdurrahman. I really appreciate my participation with you. First of all, I would like to talk about Qatar Scientific Club and the efforts that was provided by Qatar Scientific Club. We started, first of all, the communication with the Hamad Hospital. We spent like a few weeks to reach them until we find communication with them. And then immediately we create committee with them to establish like a fabrication of face shield. During this topic, I would like to mention what is the role of the youth people to develop and to support people like Dr. Nasser and his team in the first, let's say, row facing this crisis. So all of us, for sure, have a role to face this problem, this crisis, by providing them with the tools that they need. So once we started the communication, we start to develop the face shield for them, and that took like a few days and trials until we reach the final approved design for the face shield to be implemented and to be fabricated. During this presentation or speech, I would like to emphasize that the role of the youth people are really, really important to provide people like Dr. Nasser and his team, or all the medical staff around the world, the support they need to go through this crisis. I know what they are doing is really appreciated in terms of the medication that they give for the infected people, but also we have a role to support this team by providing with a shortage of the tools and devices they required. And here we can talk about the knowledge-based economy and how we can take advantage of this, let's say, product which will be developed in the future to be a product can be provided to the market. By doing such project during this crisis, it could be definitely a future product for the country, and to localize this product which was developed during the crisis, and then transfer it to the future as a commercial. This is in regard to the knowledge-based economy, but also I know that there is many of challenges in the ecosystem. Our ecosystem is not well established, and we need to put a lot of effort to develop this ecosystem in order to support any crisis that might come in the future. I would like to keep the discussion for later with the team, maybe during the questions, but I would like to emphasize that you are the main role or the driver of the knowledge-based economy, and of course you can support the team who need your help.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harib, for this speech. It's really inspiring. Now I would like to ask you again if you can please, everyone can mute their microphone. I will really appreciate it. So now I want to give the opportunity to our innovators to talk about their innovation. First, we will start with Asma from Lebanon. But please be brief because we are almost running out of time. So each innovator will present his or her idea in 2 minutes. So let's keep that time in mind. So Asma, please, the mic is yours.
Okay. Hello, everyone. First of all, Ramadan Kareem for all of you, and thank you for this virtual meeting. My innovation is that one that I participated with in Doha Oasis for Innovation and the individual competition. It was Salamati. Salamati is a smart medical device that takes the vital signs of the patient and display them on its own mobile application on a smart phone. Mainly, during these situations, this idea or this innovation was the one needed for those people who need to be monitored every time without going out of their home, going to hospitals, clinics, or such places. Mainly, briefly, this is my idea.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Asma. Now I will turn to Qusay from Jordan. Are you with us, Qusay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So Qusay, the mic is yours. Please be brief within 2 minutes. Explain your idea and your innovation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My idea is to design a smartwatch or bracelets for tracking people after they recover from illness and leave hospitals, because it may be infected again, as well as people who have ended their quarantine period to track them and ensure they do not leave the the house frequently. In general, we can through this device to check if there is a gathering of or meeting of a large number of people and locate their location.
Right. Thank you very much, Qusay.
Thank you.
Now I will turn the microphone to Nihal from Sudan. Are you with us, Nihal? Nihal.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. Okay. The mic is yours.
Thank you. Ramadan Kareem for everyone, and I wish that this pandemic ends up soon, and I wish like people recover as soon as possible and we find a vaccine. I suggested 2 ideas. The first of them is like to manage the risk of pandemic diseases in the future. By using the help of the artificial intelligence, then we could have like a software. We support it with a database that is full of the data of all the viruses and the DNA and RNA data of them. Maybe we could find like people who are specialized in this can help us more. They can tell us how are the amino acids are arranged in the viruses. Once we change the arrangement of the RNA and DNA and amino acids, we can predict the mutation which is going to happen for the viruses. As we know what's happening next, we can predict how we can solve it. Then in the same software, we can develop a simulation for the human immunity system. Then we can try the mutated viruses on the artificial immunity system that we have. We can predict what's going to happen. Then we can manufacture the protein that is going to break down the viruses that are going to be there in the future. Then the second idea, briefly, is like to have the microscopic lenses
Just because of the time, sorry Nihal, but we're running out of time. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's just past 2 minutes now. Thank you very much, Nihal. And you can submit your idea later on, inshallah.
Okay.
So
thank you.
We have next Abdurrahman from Libya. Abdurrahman, are you with us? Abdurrahman, I think you're mute.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Abdurrahman.
Please, you have 2 minutes to explain your idea. Go ahead.
Okay, I prefer to speak Arabic. السلام عليكم. بداية فكرتي ببساطة هي تطبيق أندرويد. طبعا احنا عارفين أن في حالة الإصابات بكورونا هو تزيد الإصابات بشكل متسارع جدا. الشيء هذا يسبب ضغط على المستويات المختلفة للإدارة، سواء كان على الفريق الطبي أو على المستويات الإدارية المختلفة، بالإضافة إلى صعوبة التواصل بين المرضى والطاقم الطبي. المرضى نقصد هنا المصابين والمتواجدين داخل العزل. فلذلك طورت تطبيق أندرويد. طبعا هو حاليا في مراحله النهائية. الغرض من التطبيق هذا اللي هو تسهيل عملية التواصل بين المستويات المختلفة للإدارة، بحيث أن تسهل عملية تحديد احتياجات كل مركز عزل على حدة، بالإضافة إلى أنها تسهل عملية تحليل البيانات، وكذلك تسهل عملية التواصل بين المصابين والأطقم الطبية. طبعا لو كان في متسع من الوقت، حاليا عندي جزء من التطبيق يمكن نقدر يمكن في إشكال، مش مشكلة. فحاليا التطبيق قاعد في المرحلة النهائية من التجريب، بالإضافة إلى أن عندي تواصل مع مجموعة من الجهات المحلية وهو حاليا تحت التجريب إن شاء الله. فالفكرة في التطبيق هذا ببساطة أن يسهل عملية التواصل بين المرضى اللي هم قاعدين داخل الحجر الصحي، بالإضافة إلى الأطقم الطبية. عملية التواصل هذه لما تكون بشكل تقني تسهل، الأول شيء تسهيل عملية التواصل ينقص من إمكانية إصابة الأطقم الطبية بالفيروس. لماذا؟ بسبب أن الاحتكاك بالمرضى أو بالمصابين يعني قل، فالشيء هذا يسبب انخفاض احتمالية إصابة الأطقم الطبية. بالإضافة إلى أن كيف ما حكيت أنه
بس لأن الوقت، سوري والله بقاطعك، بس آسف والله لأن تعدت الدقيقتين وأنا عندي والله 3-4 بعد، يعني آسف. بس إن شاء الله ممكن في فرصة ثانية إن شاء الله نقدر نسمع فيها التفصيل أكثر. أحب أشكرك أخي عبد الرحمن مرة ثانية، وآسف على المقاطعة بس على أساس الوقت. عندنا محمد ألفا from Sierra Leone. Are you with us, Muhammad Alfa?
Yes.
Yes. So please, you have 2 minutes to explain your innovation or your idea. So go ahead.
Yes, I'll say this in English. Hand washing system is very critical and to stop the spreading of the virus. So we decided to design an automatic thermometer hand washing system. It opens and closes automatically as it detects anyone by it. So you wash your hand, and after you're done washing your hand, it stops. To operate, and then at the same time it checks your temperature, and then also we have a sensor that collects a data of number of people that wash their hands per day. So we have already designed one prototype. It is already in our central hospital because we wanted to design more, but due to the constraints we are lettering, so we only designed one, and it is currently working.
Can you speak up? Your voice is not very clear.
Yes, so I was saying we designed an hand washing system that works automatically. It's an automatic thermometer hand washing system. So it opens and closes automatically. You want to wash your hand and then close as you finished. And then at the same time, it checks your temperature, and then it also takes data of people that wash their hands for a particular day. Because hand washing is very, very important in fighting the COVID-19. So we have already designed one prototype, and then it is currently working at our central hospital. We wanted to design more, but the constraints is very, very critical. So that's our idea, the automatic thermometer hand washing system.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you very much, Muhammad Alpha. Finally, we have Destiny from Nigeria. Destiny, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My idea is I'm going to share my screen. Oh, okay. My screen is disabled. I wanted to show us the conceptual design I did, but basically, we're using like the conventional the conventional water dispenser. So you're creating a system where you'll be able to insert your hand and wash your hands automatically, and after you're done, a chute opens and then it delivers a hand glove to you. But more importantly, what we are thinking of doing is that we are adapting these conventional water dispensers in such a way that it will be more like a robot that uses ultraviolet rays. So if it just goes around in the hospital, and then it uses the ultraviolet rays to disinfect like the entire room. And after that, after like 20 minutes interval, humans can then go in. But while they are going in, the robot also houses like this automatic hand sanitizer that you can use to wash your hands and then like have access to a nose mask. My second innovation is just the use of wearables. So basically you have like a bracelet that you can have on your hand, and after some time the bracelet basically just vibrates and then tell you to go and wash your hand. Or if you're taking your hand close to your face, the bracelet will vibrate and tell you not to allow your hand to have contact with your face. So these are like the two innovations I have. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you, Destiny. It was really amazing ideas from all of you, really. And it shows the innovative spirit that all of you have. And actually, we have seen it when you participated with us last year. So again, thank you very much for your interesting ideas. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. But before we end this webinar, and on behalf of the management team of Qatar Scientific Club, and with collaboration with the Ministry of Culture and Sports, we would like to announce the continuation of the hackathon that happened last year. It will happen again, inshallah, this year again, but this time it will be virtual, given the situation. And inshallah, we will send you more details in the future. So please stay tuned and follow us on our social media platforms, Q Scientific on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And you can also visit our website, www.qsc.org.qa. At the end of this amazing webinar, I would like to thank our distinguished guests, His Excellency, Mr. Taha Ayhan, the President of Islamic Conference Youth Forum, Dr. Nasser Al-Ansari, the chairman of SWICC Infection Control Committee in Communicable Disease Center at Hamad Medical Corporation, and Dr. Harib Al-Jabri, assistant professor of environmental sciences at Qatar University. I would like to thank all of you for participating with us today in this webinar and for your valued contributions and ideas. We hope to see you again soon in the future, inshallah. And thank you again. If you want to continue, I know you haven't, because you haven't seen each other since last year maybe. So maybe you would like to continue in this webinar, continue talking to each other, catch up. But officially, we have ended this webinar. So thank you.